What's up, everybody? It's Chris from ProPhoto, and today is our third day on the hard reflectors. This is our geared up show where we talk about all kinds of fun gear and stuff like that. We break down lighting setups. We talk about what makes lighting cool. I have ink all over my hands. I keep looking.
You'll see why.
I keep looking at my hands. I'm like, oh, there's like ink everywhere. I thought it was bleeding. Halloween. It's a horror show. But this is our live show that we do 3 times a week where we break down gear and have a lot of fun. Today, again, we're going to be diving into hard reflectors. The last couple of days, we've covered the Magnum Reflector, the wide zoom, the tele zoom, and the narrow beam. All things that are really good to use with your exposed dome flash heads, like pro heads, acute heads, D4s, maybe like an older compact or something like that. Today we're going to dive into reflectors that we made specifically for our flat front light. So your D1s, your D2s, your B1s, your B1Xs, B10s, B2s, whatever you have. This is what these are made for. That being said, probably don't want to use them on an exposed tube light. Not going to get quite the same light spread. That's what the ones we were talking about last week are all about. So let's talk about what we're talking about. Also, as we're talking about these products, if you're watching this on ProPhoto.com, you'll notice that there are some, there'll be some graphics that pop up or even the top or the bottom, depending on if you're watching on a phone or a computer. If you want any more information on those products, you can click them and it'll take you to ProPhoto.com and break down the whole thing. So that's only if you're on ProPhoto.com. If you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube, go to ProPhoto.com and watch it there. It's a good place to check it out. But like I said, these 2 reflectors right here were made to be used with our flat front lights. The facets on the inside are much different. They're like the square facet style that are distinctly made to gather up the light spread of a flat front reflector and emphasize it, to control it, to be able to mold it. And that is the OCF Magnum and the OCF Zoom reflector. And today we're going to talk about the differences. We're going to show you the zoom spreads, and then we're going to have a little bit of Halloween fun. Kate's made up with kind of like a pop art comic book theme, and we're going to use some hard light to light that up, have some fun, show you guys what we're up to. So that being said, let's talk about the Magnum reflector first. So just like the original OG Magnum reflector that I have up on the wall, the OCF Magnum is designed to gather up as much light as possible and blast it forward. So that being said, this reflector can give you up to 2 stops more light output. So if you think about that, if you're using it on a D2 1000 or a D1 1000, that's effectively, depending on the setting that you have this on, that's effectively giving you 4,000 watt seconds of light output. That's pretty incredible. So and that's just by adding this little reflector. You haven't really done anything other than that. So up to 2 stops more light output, which is really, really cool. Plus, you have the ability to zoom it. It has a pretty good beam spread. You can go from 40 degrees at its tightest beam spread to pulled back and give you around 80 degrees. So you have a good little bit of range. It's got a lot of punch to it. It can have a pretty heavy hotspot. One of the things, and that's obviously when you're going to have it zoomed in the most, and you're going to get the most out of the output. But it's a great little reflector. The other cool thing about it is I don't think I have one of the cases that I can show you quickly. I don't. I think it's like probably in my store. I'm just double checking to see if I have it. I don't. But what's cool about the Magnum is it comes in almost looks like a miniature little hat case. And that case is, it's got a little buckle on it. You can buckle it to your bag. So it's a really easy reflector to roll with. It's great, and it's really no bigger than the zoom reflector if you've ever seen the zoom reflector before. So to get that much punch out of this little bad boy right here, it's pretty dynamite. Then, let's talk zoom. So this reflector was built for zoom spread. It was built for being incredibly compact and easy to travel with you, but also more output. So whereas the OCF Magnum is going to give you like up to 2 stops more out, this one can give you up to 1.2 stops. So again, if you're using a D1 or D2 1000, you pop this bad boy on at its tightest beam spread, you're going to get a little over 2,000 watt second flash. That's pretty cool. So, and that's with this little bad boy. And the nice thing about it is it was designed. I'm going to walk over here and my pack's probably going to freak out on me again. Let's see. But it's designed that whenever you're packing it up to travel, you can take the reflector off, right? And you can just kind of flip it backwards onto your flash head and throw it in your bag like that. So, and then on some of the stuff that have a little bit longer throw, like your I saw it having a hard time focusing. But on your other things, like your B1s that have that little bit longer neck, this will actually go all the way in and clip down. Actually, that clipped down pretty good. So, but you can put that back in your bag just like that with your flash head, and it's easy just to kind of throw that right there. And it also has a soft case that it comes with, which I definitely have no idea what I've done with my soft case. I have got a lot of stuff sitting around here. But it's a very cool reflector. Like I said, with the zoom of the Magnum Reflector, this thing zooms as well, but you're going to get a little bit wider beam spread with this thing. So you're looking probably around the 55 to 85 degree zoom range. The other cool thing about the zoom reflector, whereas you're going to get more of a, it's really predominant with the hot spot, especially at certain zoom ranges with the Magnum. It's one of the things that makes it really cool and punchy. This thing is punchy as well, but it's a lot more even. Really cool reflector. We're actually gonna set these up on a wide shot for you to see, so you can see it zooming, and then I'm gonna show you how we set up the photo for talking with Kate, or for photographing Kate. So, sweet. Let's do it. You ready to rock and roll, Kate?
Yeah, let's do it.
So right here in the beginning, we're just going to show you the zoom. I think I'm probably gonna have to turn the lights down a little bit. But I want you to see how that zoom spread changes a lot of stuff. I know we showed it with the other reflectors the last couple of days, but you should see it with this too. So I'm gonna knock this down.
Hopefully my polka dots haven't been.
Yeah, you probably rubbed off all your polka dots. I'm just gonna turn the lights down for a second. Cool.
No, I think we're all right.
Cool. I think with that one light up, we should be fine. Yeah, you should be able to see that.
Yeah.
So let's break out I set my reflectors down right here. Let's go Magnum first. Turn this bad boy on. This is going through a B10X Plus. I'm using B10X Plus, just we're doing a lot of video stuff. The continuous light's more powerful. That's what makes it nice. So that's why we're with the B10X Plus. So I don't know how, you might have to actually turn around for this since it's on the wide shot. Actually turn towards the camera. Let's actually just do this so people can actually see how the light changes. So you can see how much of a hot spot you can really focus that thing in on. Very cool stuff. And then as you start to zoom it back, it's going to widen out, and it's also going to diffuse out a little bit. So you have a lot of control with the reflector. It's still a hard light source. You can still see the hard shadow on the background, right? But if you really want to harness all that power, you can zoom it forward. And look how punchy that is. I mean, you can see just in the difference of how it's overexposing on her right now, that it's serious business. Really cool reflector. And then let's show you the difference in. Now, I'm sure that the actual, like, just kind of seeing this with the camera probably isn't going to tell us as much, but this is the tightest beam spread of the zoom reflector. And you can see it's not nearly as overexposed as it was with the Magnum, but then as we start to zoom it back, you can see it spread out and diffuse even more. I mean, look how wide that throw is. And then you can take it back in. You can see the vignette start to come around. But even at its long, like that's the hottest the hot spot's gonna get. Kind of cool. So really even, and you can see good coverage on her. Really cool stuff. So that being said, let's take some images of the Magnum Reflector with it. So lighting setup wise, today it's pretty simple. Whenever I'm shooting hard light, I always like to have some sort of fill. If you've been watching the last couple of days, you've seen this fill here. This is one of my favorite soft boxes in the entire world. It's the RFI 4x6. It's really beautiful. And there's a D2 500 blasting through it. So cool stuff. And then I think you have to shift over a little bit more. And then lighting wise for this, I'm gonna have a B10X Plus, like I said, with the OCF Zoom reflector right here. I'm gonna look too to see if you guys have any questions here in a second, but I have it at its most narrow form because I want that punch to hit Kate. So we've got that set up there. I don't think that should be pretty good right there, I would think. And cool, so, but just like you would see in a lot of the older, like pop art type things, they use a harder light source. So we're gonna back it up a little bit so the light that hits Kate is also pretty even with background. Can you take one little step back towards the background? is going to be pretty even with the background. And then this right here will fill in any deep shadows that you can generally get with one light and a hard reflector. One of the things I always tell people to do whenever you're using a hard reflector is pay a little bit more attention to the shadows as opposed to paying attention to where the light falls, because one of the things that people hate the most about hard light, and one of the things that deters people from using hard light, are the shadows. Sometimes they're just kind of pointed all over the place and you just don't like them. But if you think more about controlling your shadows as opposed to controlling the light whenever you have like a soft light, I think you'll find that you get a lot more results that you're looking for. So at least that's how I approach it, and it's made me enjoy shooting hard light a lot more. So let's bring this in here. Camera settings wise, I'm shooting with, let me make sure my air remote's on. I'm shooting with f8 ISO 160, I think 250th of a second. That's just to get rid of any of the studio lights and stuff like that. So I'm gonna take this shot right here, the main, and then I'm gonna take one with the main off so you can see how the fill affects it. And now I'll take one with, so here we go, 3, 2, 1. Very cool. Let me turn off the main. Here's the fill light so you can see this. Cool. And then let me turn off the fill light so you can see how the main would look without it. 3, 2, 1. Very cool stuff. Awesome, and we can compare those images. Awesome, Kate, thank you. And I'm gonna see if anyone has any questions before we get too deep away from anything as well. Do you see anything on Facebook? Does anyone ask anything?
Hello on this beautiful autumn day.
Hello. Thanks for tuning in. Let's get some lights back up in this bad boy so we can chitty chat. But these two reflectors are really awesome. They were made for portability. They're made to be easily thrown in your bag or strapped to your bag and you're out the door. The OCF Magnum is one of my absolute favorite modifiers. I personally, because I use the B10 a lot, I like it. But one of the other reasons I really like it is because when you're shooting harder light sources, you want at least for the most part, you want the light, the size of the modifier to be pretty small in relationship to the subject. And the size of the OCF Magnum in comparison to the OG Magnum is smaller. So I can get a little bit harder light source, a little bit tighter shadow. Really cool stuff. Hey, thank you guys so much. I see you out there in the YouTube worlds. So let's pull up these shots so you can see how the light is affecting everything. And just so you see why I have everything set up the way I do. Here we go. So the fill light is just there to try to mitigate any heavy shadows. Honestly, the way that I've moved the light around a few times today so far, so it's probably not, you're probably not seeing as much of the shadows. Let's see if you can see. So here you go, underneath the nose. You can see right here that there's, it's a little bit lighter, so it's keeping it from being overly contrasty from what I want, whereas it's much darker here. And that was the point of throwing in the softbox. But you can see the shadows that are there, they're still nice and edgy. Nice. I mean, look how tight that shadow is right there from the nose. We're doing more of it's definitely a broad style light, but it's really, really easy to achieve. And again, just trying to pay attention to where the shadows are falling is kind of how I set up the light source for that. Does anybody ask anything else before?
Nothing's populating here.
Oh, cool. Sweet. But again, really great modifiers, really, really versatile. Again, your OCF Magnum reflector is going to give you up to 2 stops more light output, which is dynamite, especially if you're in in a scene that needs it. If you're trying to match some midday sun, or you're trying to overpower the sun and bring down the ambient, the OCF Magnum's a great helper in that. Then the OCF Zoom is going to give you a lot of versatility as well. Once again, you're going to get up to 1.2 stops more light output, but it's going to be a lot more even. So hopefully that gave you the information, that armed you with the information that you need to make the right decision for the right modifier for how you shoot. Again, a lot of these companies, there's a lot of companies out there who rent this stuff, so if you're not really sure which one you like, you can always rent it first before you think about picking one of those bad boys up. But if you want some more information on any of those things, like I said, if you're watching on ProPhoto.com, we've had graphics on the sides. I'm not sure if it's this side or that side, but I do know some graphics pop up at the bottom if you're on a phone or something like that. So really cool stuff. Thank you all so much for kicking it with us this week. It's been a lot of fun talking about hard reflectors. I don't even know what we're going to be talking about next week, but we'll be here talking about more light shaping tools. So if you want to jump in on any of our one-on-one breakout sessions, if you want to dive in and talk deeper with someone about any of the products we discussed today, you can check one of the links in the description. In the meantime, have an awesome weekend. Peace out. See you later.